So CNN did another stupid, hilarious thing, and this time the punchline is not Chris Wallace. Wow, tough crowd today, huh? I don't know if I want to continue the show. Anyway, they introduced the world to the phrase neopronouns. Yeah, last Saturday, CNN published a guide to neopronouns where they offered their preferred pronouns, which includes they, zer, they, fer, and a-er. Yeah, those are about as common as a picture of Hunter Biden wearing pants. Dennis Barron, a professor, told CNN neopronouns should be used and respected like any other pronoun. Yeah, Denny, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're out of luck. This is over. The only people who still take this crap seriously are interns at CNN forced to interview idiots like you. CNN quoted other dopes saying neopronouns are a reflection of someone's personal identity. Well, I'll give them that. If you're a loser, a nobody, or in more specific terms, a bore. Because only boring, lazy people need a neopronoun. If you're boring, it adds pizzazz, and if you're lazy, you don't have to do anything other than say, I'm a Z. How lame is this? A made-up pronoun is now a participation trophy for people who can't participate in actual life. It's a built-in excuse for people going nowhere without having to travel to Delaware. People who list their pronouns are worse than people who list I drive stick under hobbies on their resume. Because I can't. Wow, you guys. What's in your coffee? But they're like people who say they're spiritual but not religious. They get tattoos so people can ask them about their tattoos. They wear T-shirts of bands they don't listen to. They get degrees in subjects that aren't useful to anyone. They brag when they've read a book. Their parents are usually well off and provided a good life for them, but yet they still hate capitalism. They're the most boring people on the planet, even ahead of those who buy books by Brian Kilmeade. But it does beg the obvious question, what makes an interesting person? And is it that hard to be interesting? Or you should ask who interested you first as a child. Remember, it was old people, grandparents. They were magical. It was so cool to see them constantly smoking. They had something that wasn't defined for you, perhaps. It was called wisdom, mixed with whiskey. But they had tales of wars, life, love, and death, their failures and their accomplishments. They could show you a grainy black and white photo and talk about a cousin who died at 19, but had more experiences than most people now do in a lifetime. But what about later? You're a teen, you're young and shy. You haven't discovered my books, which are on tape. What might make you interesting without falling for or following the pronoun sheep? Well, try reading books, not threads. Listen to people, travel, exercise, learn skills like cooking or hunting. Become good at something. It's not that hard, trust me. For example, no one has ever failed at trying to be a DJ. You just play music on a computer. And when people find out that you know how to do stuff, they're interested. I once dated a girl who killed her own dinner. I found that sexy. She introduced me to another girl who claimed she was a witch, and she tasted delicious. People who have hobbies or play a sport or just do things, anything, that stuff is interesting. I don't care if it's cornhole or calligraphy, as long as it's not jazz. But people who do things are more interesting than people who identify things because they actually accomplish something. I find that the pronoun peeps don't do anything but tell you who they are. It's why they can never afford to pay for lunch while they spent their allowance on a haircut that looks like an industrial accident. But an interesting person prefers individuals over groups and finds the world more interesting than how the world perceives them. Meanwhile, a boring person expects you to find interest in them. People who list their pronouns are boring, or else they wouldn't list them. They literally have nothing better to do. They see how easy it is to get attention. It's as easy as breaking a woman's weightlifting record. Jeez Louise, what's wrong with these people?
This is gold here, people.
I know. They're like, yeah.
You ever seen gold before?
I would hate to sit next to someone on a plane who goes by anything other than he and she. It's why I fly private. But choosing a new pronoun means you've mistaken momentary attention from others for genuine interest in you. And you have no other skills or charms because you stopped at Z. When people pay attention to you for that, for a moment you become special. But it's downhill from there, like marrying Kat.
Aw.
We're very happy.
So it's over. Time to shut down the fake pronouns. If someone demands you to adhere, tell them your pronouns are and off. Because promoting a fake attribute, the pronoun, makes gender the overriding principle in your life. So you actually stop doing anything else of note. You're not only boring now, you're boring forever. I mean, at least you could put your pronouns on your grave. It's just too bad no one will bother to visit. Let's welcome tonight's guest. If the press is a vampire, she's a wooden cross. Outnumbered co-host Kaylee Maganini. Like his family dinners, he's a one-man show. Actor, writer, and comedian Jamie Lissow. When I am pesty, she gets testy. Fox News contributor Kat Tipp. And even his common sense is immense. My massive sidekick in the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Torres. Jamie, good to see you as always. Are you non-binary?
I think I'm the other one.
Yeah.
Is it binary?
Yeah, I guess you're binary.
I Googled all the words we were going to talk about tonight, and that wasn't one of them. So I'm not sure what it means.
Yeah. Did any pronouns strike your fancy?
You know what? Here, by the way, if anybody doesn't know what a pronoun is, just to give you, I'll give you like a random, couple sentences of what pronouns are. It would be like, she divorced him for no reason. He was really sad. These are just random.
Right.
You know,
Right,
like
just
they
top of your head.
lived in the house
Yeah.
that he bought. He dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
It's so I feel attacked from the monologue too, because I think you knew I have a tattoo that says "Ask me about my tattoo," and so I feel really attacked. Nothing is safe anymore with words. I'm surprised they haven't taken the dick out of dictionary at this point.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm a comedian, so my pronouns are he.
That's cute.
That was pretty.
That's like
cute,
a
right?
that's a joke for all the
9 o'clock
ages.
joke.
Nice clean
9
joke.
o'clock. Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I'm going for when I'm on stage. Instead of people like laughing really loud, I hope they all go, "That's cute."
Same thing when you're naked.
Yeah, but isn't it? It's
I don't even know why I said that.
that is
At
crazy.
this
though.
point, you should.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I'm going to move on from you, Jamie. You've depressed me. Kaylee, you have 2 children, correct?
I do.
What happens when one of them is old enough to come in? Hopefully, all of this stuff will be gone by now. I think it's like a momentary delusion, like a flash flood of stupidity.
I hope so.
And it will disappear. But let's say one of your kids, you have 2 daughters?
No, a daughter and a son, but I guess in this day and age, it's anyone's determination.
Yes, that's true. We're not sure yet what the gender of your children are, Kaylee.
Yes.
All right, I'll be the judge later when I review the court papers. No, what do you tell them? If somebody says,
Don't commit a civil rights violation in kindergarten. That's what I tell them. No, in all seriousness, I went to, I believe it was one of the Dakotas. It was somewhere in the Midwest. And someone said to me, a mom was like, my kids go to school, and every day these kids come with a different pronoun. They think it's a joke.
Yeah.
And then my kid was getting in trouble, sent to detention because they weren't corresponding to the right pronoun. Like, this is where we are as a society. I really want to know why you made me read a CNN article about neopronouns today. That was like the worst task on my list of things to do today.
I thought it was weird because it's like basically this ship has sailed.
I learned
I
a
really
lot.
think the pronoun thing is over, but I see this and I'm like going like, what is CNN doing? What they're like I don't know.
Well, here's one thing I learned. You can choose any noun and put self at the end, and it becomes a pronoun. So, like, they use the example of leaf. Someone can say, I'm a leaf. I'm leaf, and you have to refer to me as leaf self. And if you don't refer to me as leaf self, you've committed a civil rights violation. So that's the insanity with which we were at. It's in the CNN article, buried in, like, paragraph 42. So leaf self is a pronoun.
That's what I like about having Kaylee on, Kat, because she reads all the way to the end. Generally, I will do the headline, maybe a paragraph, and then I will yell at somebody, just scream at somebody, and then I'll just go to sleep. That's what I do. And one day you can be just like me, Kat.
That sure is the goal. No, I read the whole thing too. I was actually writing about some of this stuff years and years ago at National Review. And look, if anybody came up to me and said like any of this stuff, I'd just be like, okay.
Yeah.
Which, you're right, could potentially devastate that person.
Right.
I don't think that it's real. I looked this up on Twitter, trying to find somebody who's like a real human with like a name and a picture of their face, being like, thank you, CNN, for talking about this.
Yes.
So I don't think it's really all that much of a thing, but the kids doing it doesn't shock me. Because if I were a kid and this were a thing, I would have a new pronoun every single day.
Every day.
I would love that attention.
Yeah.
When I was in first grade, like there was boys that were really bad troublemakers. So they had this little chart where they got a star if they were good. And I was like, well, I got to start behaving worse so then I can get more attention.
Yes, that's true. There was a kid in my third grade class that decided she would be a cat all day. Yeah. So now you can actually do that and get rewarded.
Yeah. Okay. We're just going to stop this party. All right. The answer is no.
No.
No. I don't want to know. If someone comes up to me and they can't say, hi, I'm Daryl.
Yeah.
I'm like, hi, my pronouns are, the wind of me walking away from them will knock them over. Like, I'm not participating in your games. I got real things going on. And Kat's right. When you look for people who actually are going through this, when you find them, you understand why. They're always the same. They have the same look. It's either a faux hawk with some really bad hair coloring, a horrible nose piercing, really inappropriate bad tattoos that they're going to regret whenever they decide to grow up. And it's a cry for help. And your monologue was spot on. Like, they don't participate. They can't succeed. They're not trying to succeed. So I will make myself something different so I can win in my event.
Right.
Because I'm the unicorn leaf self. And there's only one of me. I did some research too, Kat.
Yeah.
And everyone I found, it was like, one guy was like, I'm half vampire and half lycanthrope because my parents were a werewolf. My parents was a vampire, so I have both their powers. And when I find someone attractive, my eyes itch.
Insanity.
You stay away from those people.
Exactly. Keep your pronouns on Twitter so we can avoid you.
Yeah, and if my kids came home and said, Daddy, my pronouns is this, this, and this, yeah, my pronoun would be ass whooping.
Yeah.
I will sit in detention with you. I'll bring cake and pie. Okay?
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.